The championship enters the final two events. Who will win? Who will fall? Who will take it all? Don't miss this action-packed weekend when 11,000 horsepower, 300-mile-per-hour nitro drag racing shakes the strip. Kids 12 and under are free in general admission, and every ticket's a pit pass. Get your tickets today at lvms.com for the NHRA Nevada Nationals this weekend.
Film Festival Radio, Saturday afternoons at 3 on KSHP, North Las Vegas, AM and FM, K29, 6HP, North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
It's time for the most interactive radio program in Las Vegas today. It's time for Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. Brian will talk sports, politics, entertainment, and anything that matters to you. Feel free to call Brian at 702-221-7283.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Now, Pushing the Limits, here's Brian Shapiro.
What's up, fellow buffoons? It is Pushing the Limits. So glad you could join us on a Wednesday. It is hump day. And boy, I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if some of you out there are like, man, I can't keep up with the news, I'm going to do my best to kind of update you on everything that's going on in the last 24 hours. It's kind of crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Meadows flipping on Donald Trump. And when I mean by flipping, I don't mean flipping the bird. There's plenty of people out there that are doing that. That's big news. Comes a day after Jenna Ellis pleaded guilty. Sidney Powell last week pleads guilty. The walls are caving in on Donald Trump. We'll get to that. And now the Republicans have a new House Speaker. We're going to be getting to that as well. Blake Wynn's going to be joining us in hour number 2. So the Republicans have voted in a guy by the name of Mike Johnson. Now, for those of you that might not know who Mike Johnson is, I'm going to give you a little bit of history on who he is, because he is another MAGA right-wing buffoon who talks about his faith all the time and then brown-noses Donald Trump. But it gets a lot worse than that. This guy voted to steal the 2020 election and disenfranchise millions of voters out there in this country. He's been saying time and time again that he wants to ban abortion nationwide. Now, anybody who has that thought, when we have hundreds of thousands of people out there, kids that are waiting to get adopted, and this guy wants to ban abortion throughout the entire country, is a right-wing radical. I think we all could probably agree on that. He opposed the legislation of same-sex marriage. What a shocker that a MAGA Republican is against the LGBT community. I don't think that should shock anybody at all. But in regards to what this guy has said on the House floor to kind of prove to you what a radical nut job this guy is, I'm going to play that for you. Here is Mike Johnson on the House floor talking about letting the people decide in the election when we were talking about impeachments during the Donald Trump impeachment period. Have a listen to what this nut job had to say then.
Members have called for removal based on a myriad of objections against this president. Representative Al Green of Texas filed a resolution in the House for impeachment after Trump called for players kneeling during the national anthem to be fired. I mean, come on. You don't like his political positions? Great, but you can't impeach a president because you don't like him. That's not how this system works. We're in a constitutional republic. There are rules here. There are standards. You don't get to make that decision. The voters in this country do. And we have an election coming up in about 11 months. Let the people decide. Don't put yourselves in their place. You don't have the right to do it.
Yeah, let the people decide. Yet this is the same guy who voted to steal the 2020 election. But he says, let the people decide. What a contradiction from his actual behavior and actions. So he's a liar. We know that for sure. And then he said Trump called out players for kneeling. Was against it. No, he called them sons of bitches. Okay, there's a difference between disagreeing with a professional athlete kneeling during the national anthem and being the president of the United States and calling them out and calling them sons of bitches. Okay, this guy is a liar and he's wrong. Welcome to the GOP House Speaker, which is Mike Johnson. This was what Mike Johnson had to say when it came to abortion and his radical views on that, because he is an alt-right Christian radical. Here's what he had to say about abortion on the House floor.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America, period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
the gentleman
I will not yield. I will not. Roe was a terrible corruption of America's constitutional jurisprudence.
It's interesting because he's talking about corruption, yet he's brown-nosed Donald Trump for how many years now? This is a guy talking about the killing of babies, but yet if you actually look at Mike Johnson's voting record, he basically votes against every single bill that could help the American people, including young children. This guy voted against cheaper gas. He voted against cheaper insulin. He voted against child tax credits, but, cares a lot about the unborn child, right? The unborn baby. This guy voted against stimulus checks. He's voted against the Voting Rights Act. He voted against fighting domestic terrorism in the past. He's voted against keeping birth control. He voted against background checks. This guy's voted against baby formula. Do you remember when we had that baby formula shortage? And this guy, Mike Johnson, wants to call himself, all high and mighty, the good Christian. But we had that baby formula shortage, and then Democrats came up with a bill that would have immediately put baby formula back on the shelves. Guess who voted against it? Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike. He voted against it. He voted against veteran cancer care, but he calls himself pro-life. And of course, he's voted constantly against gay marriage because God forbid two gay people, two men or two women, marry one another. It's just the end of the world when it comes to Mike Johnson, right? But he'd vote for a guy with kids with 3 wives who is a liable rapist. What does that say about Mike Johnson and his moral compass? He has none. He voted against upholding the election. That's a big one, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to this guy. He has consistently voted against Ukraine aid, except for the very first aid bill. Now, he calls himself pro-life. I wouldn't call him pro-life. He's anti-abortion. He's a Christian radical, and he wants to ban abortion throughout the country if he had it his way. He also supported President Trump's 2017 executive order prohibiting immigration from 7 Muslim countries. If you're a Muslim, why would you want this guy to be the House Speaker? I'm just curious. He solidly voted with the GOP colleagues, very policy-driven guy. He's been a member of the Congress for 7 years or so, give or take. It's his 4th term. And he's endlessly voted and fought for Donald Trump. As his member of his legal defense team during both his impeachment hearings, he's one of the biggest Trump allies you could find, and that's why Donald Trump went on Truth Social praising him, because this guy has brown-nosed Donald Trump since the beginning, since he started to announce that he was running against Hillary Clinton in the 2016 elections. This guy has been right by his side wearing the Donald Trump knee pads. Make no mistake about it. He's a constitutional attorney. He's received his degree from Louisiana State University. His Christian faith seems to be more important to him than anything. He leads the prayers on the Hill. And I think this says it all about this guy. His mentor is Jim Jordan. He voted against certifying Biden's election, and I think that's really important here. Actively involved with the investigations into Biden and wants to bring forth justice for his crimes, even though there's no evidence that any crimes have been committed. But when it comes to Donald Trump, silence. Silence. He's won his congressional seat with the largest margin of victory in his region in more than 50 years, actually. It's incredible because Adam Kinzinger made a pretty important statement, I thought, on social media. He said yesterday, I remember Mike Johnson lobbying me to support this lawsuit claiming the election was stolen. And he says every reporter needs to remember this Trump ally lobbying fellow House Republicans to support this Texas lawsuit seeking to overturn the election. The House Speaker right now is a guy that did everything that he could to try to overturn the outcome of a free and fair election back in 2020. Yes, This is a staunch election denier. That's who Mike Johnson is, a man who is not capable of separating church and state. That's who's the House Speaker right now, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this stuff up. And then he holds a press conference earlier today. And in this press conference, an ABC reporter, who I think is a very good one, asked him what I believe to be is a very fair, legitimate question. Asked him, did you try to overturn the outcome of the 2020 election? A very fair question to ask. Here's the question that was asked, and here's the response from the Republicans, because the people behind him, Liz Stefanik, we had Stefanik out there, Elise Stefanik out there, and we had other, people out there like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. And then there's a woman there named Virginia Fox. We'll get to that, but I want you to hear the audio first. This is part of the press conference where, in my eyes, a very legitimate question is asked, and have a listen to this.
Mr. Johnson, you helped lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results.
Oh, God.
Next question.
Very legitimate question. Very fair question by this ABC reporter, which was, didn't you help lead the overturning or the opportunity that you thought to overturn the outcome of the 2020 election? And you hear Scalise, and by the way, very fair question. Very legitimate, fair question that he should have answered. And when you're a member of public, you hold public office, you should answer those questions. He doesn't because he's a coward. Make no mistake about it. Mike Johnson is a coward. But the lady that you heard in that video, who told the reporter to, quote, shut up, is the chair of the Education Committee. Her name is Virginia Fox. Virginia Fox, if you want to know a little bit about her, she voted for no aid for victims of Katrina. The lady who told an ABC reporter to shut up. Of course, she opposes abortion. If she had it her way, she would also want to ban abortion across the country. She seems to be against any LGBT bill that comes forward. She opposed the Matthew Shepard bill. If you remember, Matthew Shepard, a gay man who was brutally murdered because he was gay. And she opposed a bill, basically a hate crime bill, that would be harder on people. I don't know if you can be, but to be harder on people that murder people or attack people because of the color of their skin or because of their sexuality. She opposed that. Why? Because she thinks being gay is a sin. And because she can't separate church from state like so many of these MAGA Republicans, she voted against it. She also voted against Don't Ask, Don't Tell, that bill as well. Why? Because she is anti-gay. And she is an ultra-far-right MAGA Republican. But it's interesting, what makes this even worse is that you have a reporter. I don't think under any circumstances a politician during a press conference should be telling reporters to shut up, even if you don't like the question. But here's what's really interesting about this is this was a really good, fair question. This is a guy who's the next Speaker of the House, and this is a guy who voted against certifying the 2020 election and worked with Trump. Let's be honest. Mike Johnson's an election denier. That's who he is. So you have a reporter doing their due diligence, asking what I believe to be a very fair and reasonable question, which is, did you still support, what are your thoughts on, did you still support, the overturning of the 2020 election, your efforts to do so? And you have a bunch of morons on the right that are standing up there with him, a bunch of MAGA idiots, because that's what they are, booing this lady. A page from the Donald Trump playbook, right? Anytime a reporter asked a question that Donald Trump didn't like, or it was a question that put him in a corner, instead of facing the music and answering the question, Donald Trump would just attack that reporter. We know he did it with Jim Acosta and many other reporters for years, and quite frankly, he still does that. So what is this lady, the chair of the Education Committee, by the way, what a great example you're setting for kids, Virginia Fox, she tells the reporter to, quote, shut up. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MAGA Party, the MAGA Republican Party of the extremists in 2023. So now we have this guy who is the House Speaker for the GOP. And then it comes to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I want to play that audio for you next, because Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't vote for Emmer. Now, Emmer, not a MAGA Republican. I wouldn't characterize him as such, and I think most people would agree with me on that. He's somebody who actually did certify the 2020 election. Even though I disagree with Emmer and I disagree with a lot of what he stands for, he's nowhere near far to the extreme as a guy that we have as the House Speaker today in Mike Johnson. And I find this interesting because Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't vote for Emmer because of a couple key issues, and we hear it right from the horse's mouth, so to speak, for lack of a better term. Listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene doing a live interview explaining why she didn't vote for Emmer to be the House Speaker. Have a listen to this.
But I couldn't support him for Speaker of the House. His voting record is what turned me. He had voted against President Trump's ban on transgenders in the military. He voted for the Democrats' gay marriage bill that opens up churches and other places for lawsuits if they use their faith and stand against it. He was for the national popular vote at one time, and that's not a movement I can support.
How much?
So it's interesting here because she's basically saying that she did not vote for Emmer because he's not anti-gay. That's really what we're talking about here. Didn't support the ban that Trump was trying to pass on transgenders in the military, which is also hate against transgenders. She didn't vote for him because he certified the 2020 election. That's what these MAGA Republicans don't want. They don't want reasonable Republicans in office. Marjorie Taylor Greene, in her own words, saying she didn't vote for Emmer because he didn't vote for a ban on transgenders in the military, and he's not anti-gay, or at least not anti-gay enough that suits Marjorie Taylor Greene, and voted to certify the 2020 election because the ultra MAGAs in the Republican Party today want election deniers. The ultra MAGA Republicans in the party today want to make sure that they have a House Speaker that is anti-gay, anti-transgender, and anti-democracy. That's what the Republicans want in office today. We're going to take some phone calls on this, and I want to get your thoughts on this. The number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. If you'd like to join the conversation, it's a live radio show, so I can't do it on social media, but I can do it on the phone, and that's why I'm giving out that number, and you're welcome to join the conversation. If you agree or disagree with me, I'm getting requests on social media, but I want you guys to call into the radio show. That's how we're going to do this, not on social media. I'm getting a lot of requests on social media to join. You got to call the show. So again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, whether you agree or disagree with me, you're welcome to call in, and I will take your calls coming up next. Again, that number, write it down, 702-221-SAVE, which is also 702-221-7283. What do you think of Mike Johnson becoming the next House Speaker? I told you what he represents. He represents bigotry, anti-gay, anti-transgender, wants an abortion ban throughout the country, and voted to not certify the outcome of the 2020 election. What do you make of that? And what do you make of this Virginia Fox lady at the press conference where she's standing right next to Mike Johnson, and she tells a reporter to shut up? 702-221-7283. Take a break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Locally owned and operated, come on down to Academy of Hair Design located at 5191 West Charleston Boulevard, number 150 today to begin your career in cosmetology. There is something for everyone from cosmetology to nail technology. You will be able to have the hands-on training that is needed to succeed in this career field. Call 702-878-1185 or visit www.ahdvegas.com today.
The London Bridge Resort in Lake Havasu is the perfect place to vacation in style. Their beautifully designed suites include stunning views, a kitchenette, and free Wi-Fi. The well-reviewed and affordable resort has tons of amenities, including a breakfast buffet, kids camp, a 9-hole golf course, 3 pools, a marina, boat tours, a water slide, and a great nightlife scene. London Bridge Resort is centrally located in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Go to londonbridgeresort.com to plan your getaway today. London Bridge Resort, your Arizona oasis destination.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. And tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Freddy's Frozen Custard.
Hungry for the best barbecue in Las Vegas? Come out to the infamous barbecue and meat market, John Moll's Meats and Roadkill Grill in Las Vegas. John Moll's was featured on the Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Now take home delicious meat selections for your grill, and while you're there, grab a bite of the best barbecue in Las Vegas. With 2 locations now at Tom and Gowan or on North Decatur, you're sure to find the perfect meats for your next barbecue or party. Find us online at johnmollmeats.com.
Big Dogs Brewing Company, open 24/7, is an award-winning brewery, a full-service catering business, and a fun, smoke-free brew pub restaurant with a full-service bar, including over 35 craft beers on tap, 35 multi-denomination slot machines, the best gaming promotion, and a lively, dog-friendly outdoor patio. Big Dogs Brewing Company, 4543 North Rancho at Gray. Find out more at BigDogsBrews.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here. I promised I would take some phone calls, which I will. We're talking about, I haven't even gotten into Mark Meadows yet, by the way, but we're talking right now about Mike Johnson, who is an absolute right-wing buffoon. If he had it his way, abortion would be illegal across the country. He's an election denier. He attempted to try to overturn the outcome of the elections. He's against Ukraine aid. I mean, he's everything that you want, I guess, in a far-right MAGA Republican. The number to call if you want to be a part of the show is 702-221-7283. Again, that number, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. All right, let's get right to the phone calls, as I promised I would. Let's start off with Tyler. Tyler, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Doing good, Tyler. Thanks for calling in. What's up?
And to be honest, I honestly agree with a lot of the points you make, but I know before you took a break, you were talking about abortion, or you were talking about the way to write their opinions on abortion and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was saying, and the anti-gay or the anti-LGBTQ or whatever they call it.
Yes, sir.
And what I was going to say is I understand that everybody is entitled to their opinion. It's their body, their choice, right? But if we look at the long-term effect that can have on humanity, right?
Whoa, what are we talking about? What do you mean? Are we talking about people who are gay? Like, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
Well, I'm saying if that's something that, that we decide to promote,
I'm not talking about promotion. I'm talking about people just living their lives and people leaving them the hell alone. When you say long-term effect, you think there's a negative long-term effect if people are gay? I'm trying to understand your point. Go ahead.
Yes, I do.
Why do you say that?
Now, but see, let me make this clear too. I don't have no problem with it, right? I don't. Everybody's entitled to.
Well, I mean, hold on a second. Let's be intellectually honest here. I think clearly you do. With all due respect, sir, when you say there's a negative long-term effect of people being gay, isn't that you're putting a negative towards someone who might have a different sexuality than you? Isn't that exactly what you're doing? With all due respect.
Well, no, I don't have anything against someone that is like that.
But you just said you're saying there's a long-term negative effect. Am I wrong in assuming that that's what you're saying?
I mean, I guess you. I mean, if that's the way you look at it, yeah, I guess you can.
Well,
say
it's
that.
not the way I look at it; it's the way you look at it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I have no problem with a person deciding to be gay, but my point is that the more we promote this, right?
Who's
we can
promoting
obviously agree that.
Okay, so here's where we. So Tyler, hear me out on this, okay? Here's where I think we disagree. Saying that people should live their lives and it's okay to be gay and it's okay to marry someone who is also gay is not promoting being gay. It's promoting equality. This person might be different from me, but I want them to live their life and be who you are. It's not like people are out there saying, you better be gay. That would be promoting gay. It's not like there are politicians that are Democrats out there saying, we want you to be gay. No, that's not what they're doing, because that would be what you're talking about. That would be promoting. What Democrats are doing, and what I think a lot of people in this country are doing, are saying, it's okay to be gay. It's okay to be who you are. See, to me, that my definition is very different from yours on what promoting is. I don't think that's promoting anything.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe the news I see and the articles I read and the things I research show it. For me, it shows promotion.
Okay, so give me an example. Okay, I understand. Okay, so Tyler, let's have a conversation.
It's becoming more of a normal thing.
Okay,
so
you're saying being gay is not normal. Is that what you're saying? Because I disagree with that premise as well.
No. It's normal. It's normal.
You just said it's becoming more of a normal thing. Isn't that a good thing? If you characterize something as normal, which I agree with you, which is what we agree on, and you're saying it's becoming more normal, why is that a bad thing? You just characterize it as normal. Why is that a bad thing in society when we agree that being gay it's a normal thing or should be a normal thing? Why would that be a bad thing? And can you give me an example of a Democrat in office that's promoting being gay?
Joe Biden.
Okay, so give me an example.
They were literally in Africa protesting because he was trying to, get to send a little influence.
Okay, so give me a specific example of something that Joe Biden said that you would characterize as promoting being gay.
I mean, right at this moment, I can't really tell you because I'm
can't
not.
Tell me. Okay.
I'm
so
not.
Here's what I want you to do, Tyler, because that's your entire argument. You just said on the show, with all due respect, you said these people, whether it be Joe Biden or Democrats, are promoting being gay. So when you call into a show and you say something like that, I need you to come up with an actual specific example. Now, I respectfully disagree with you. People are not promoting being gay. People are trying to say it's okay to be gay. A gay pride parade is about being prideful of who you are. They're not telling other people to be gay. They're being prideful of who they are.
So you telling me when I'm seeing a parade and I'm saying we're coming for your kids, transgender,
give me an example of somebody.
That's not a problem. That's my point.
Okay, so you're
making
hold on.
The more this is normalized, the more you're going to have people influencing it, if you get what I'm saying.
So who is somebody at a gay pride parade or anybody of influence that said, quote, "We are coming for your kids"? Who made that statement? It certainly wasn't Joe Biden, and it wasn't an elected official and a lawmaker. Who said they're coming for your kids?
It was at a protest that they were doing.
So you have a random protest, and you're claiming that an individual at a protest said, quote, "We're coming for your kids." Next time you call into the show...
it was a chant. They were chanting it.
They were chanting, "We're coming for your kids."
Something along those lines, yes.
So you don't know
with the posters they had, they also had it on their posters as well.
So Tyler,
can I at least explain what I was trying to say when I first came on?
I've been having you on the show, and I've been asking you a question.
You just cut me off, and then you're throwing me at a...
Because you're saying things that, in my opinion, are not true. You can't come up with an individual or a quote from Joe Biden, yet you claim Joe Biden is somehow promoting gayness. I asked you to name me one politician that's ever made a statement like that. You can't come up with that. Then you say that some random person, or there was some random chant at some gay pride parade, but then you don't know exactly what that verbiage is. My point is, Tyler,
that's what I'm saying. You haven't let me explain myself. You just cut me off. Let me explain myself.
On the phone for 10 minutes.
The meaning when I say long-term effect, I mean that the more we have people changing their sex and this and that, the more less birth rates we're going to have, right? So that leads humans.
You just said something else that's not factually accurate.
That's my point.
You're saying that all people that are gay change their sexuality in their life? Is that what you just said? You are misinformed,
I'm saying
sir.
That's a part of it, obviously.
Oh, it is. Okay,
but of course,
you think Richard?
Of course, I'm speaking towards gay individuals as well.
You think Richard Simmons was born straight? Is that you think everybody that makes a choice and one day they wake up and say, "Hey, I think I'm going to like guys," that's the way you think it works?
I don't know how it works.
You're right. You don't know. All right. I appreciate the call, Tyler. Thank you. You're welcome to call back anytime. I couldn't disagree with you more. The only thing I agreed with was at the end of the call when you said, "I don't know." You make judgments about certain people, and you're right. You don't know. Talk to some people that are gay. Have conversations with them, and then you're welcome to call me back. Okay, sir? Thank you for the call. 702-221-7283. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Shay. Shay is next. Hello, Shay.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Man, that last caller sounded like he was anti-gay to me.
Yeah, he sounded like that to me too, Shay. I agree. You know who he sounds like? He sounds like Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, the GOP House Speaker.
I mean, good Lord. I mean, I'm telling you, people got to start accepting people, regardless if you're anti-gay or not, And it's just funny that because I know, even in Congress, I know there's a lot of Republicans that are in Congress that are in the closet. That are gay.
That could very well be true. Yes.
But speaking back to this speaker, who was that representative that said "shut up" again? What was her name?
So her name, she is the. You'll be sad to hear that she runs the education committee. She's on the education committee, and her name is Virginia Fox. She's voted against aid for Katrina. She opposes abortion, of course. She's against any basically LGBT bill that Democrats try to pass. She was against the Matthew Shepard bill. If you remember that Matthew Shepard, a gay man who was killed because he was gay, and there was a bill put forth, a hate crime bill, and she opposed that, and she also voted against the Don't Ask, Don't Tell bill. So I think her voting record speaks volumes of who she is as a human being.
But, Brian, it just goes to show you that there's a reason why a lot of these politicians want to stay in office. is that they can basically get away with anything without any consequences. I firmly believe if she wasn't in Congress, when she had said that to a reporter like that, if that reporter was off duty, I'm telling you, it's really this party. Like I said, I think this party is going to lose the House in the upcoming election. It's really severely that important everybody come out and vote in 2024.
Yeah.
Not just in the presidential election, but in the House and the Senate. And have you noticed how Mitch McConnell has been trying to run things compared to how the House is? Mitch McConnell is trying to become the majority leader. He knows he ain't stupid. He knows he's got to work with Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Because I firmly believe this will be Mitch McConnell's last term.
Right.
And I think them House Republicans are hurting their chances because the Republicans have a good map for this upcoming year to take the Senate back.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Speaker, I'm just trying to figure out how long is he going to last?
Yeah.
Because they still got that motion to vacate. One person can vacate him out.
Well, I think when you look at the Republican Party today, Shay, I think we'll agree on this. And the ones that are most popular, the MAGA Republicans, those that are on the far right, they would never vote in Emory, a guy that actually certified the 2020 election. They vote in this guy, Mike Johnson, who basically tried to steal the 2020 election away from Joe Biden. Attacks on our democracy. If he had it his way, abortion would be banned across the country. He has no idea how to separate church and state. Calls himself this Christian when I think he's a Christian radical who, again, has brown-nosed Donald Trump. So I think that says all you need to know about this guy, Mike Johnson, and his voting record is unbelievable.
Well, it's just going to... just going to time and see. I just hope people go out and vote. And I think one thing for sure, they're going to take the House back. And I think Joe Biden's going to get reelected again.
I think so too, Shay. And
I'm a ultra progressive.
Yeah. No, I know you are. But Shay, I have some good news for you because I haven't even brought this up yet. Mark Meadows has flipped. We knew it was just a matter of time. Donald Trump is shaking in his white boots. And I'll tell you something, man. Every day that goes by, I'm more and more confident that Donald Trump is not only going to be a convicted felon, but eventually he's going to go to jail. Shay, it's always
you know what?
Go ahead.
But you know what? I've always told people that I think some of the Republicans that are in the race for the presidency, I think they're hoping for it.
I think some of them might be, but Shay, I also think most of them want to work in Donald Trump's administration. It's why they won't speak negatively about him. So I think
this is an interview process.
Yeah, you might be right, but I also think some of them are trying. That's why they raise their hand when they're asked if Donald Trump is a convicted felon, would you support him? Most of them put up their hand and say yes because they want to be a part of Donald Trump's administration. I think that's probably what it narrows down to. Shay, it's always good to hear from you, my man. I appreciate the call, okay?
Thank you.
702-221-7283 is the number to call. Our next caller is Paul. Paul, what's going on, my man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much.
Hey, this whole gay thing drives me absolutely bananas. I don't care if the person is gay, straight, marries their dog. If it doesn't affect me, why the hell do I care? If I believe in people's right to choose, it's mind-boggling how this Mike Johnson,
Because you're not a bigot. That's why. Go ahead.
No. Right, but Mike Johnson is sitting there with this "Don't Say Gay" bill, right? But and somebody was on the stage saying, "Oh, this is my Christian brother." Did he speak out against Trump banging a porn star?
Right.
Did he speak out against him sexually assaulting women? Did he speak out against him stealing from charities? But they've made gay people the boogeyman, that somehow they are the destruction of very, time and space reality, and somehow they're bad. Some of the nicest people I meet are gay that act like more Christians than the Christians that I know. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not. You're 100% right, and I could not agree with you more. Yeah, I mean, I thought if you're a person of faith, you don't judge other people. Isn't that what Christ would have told you, or God, or whoever your God is? Sadly, some of the people in the Republican Party, their God is Donald Trump. Sadly. That's who they look up to.
And I'm a Christian, and it absolutely sickens me because my job is not to judge people, it's to live my life. If God didn't want people to be gay, then he would not make them be gay.
Right.
Or he would judge them. Like, that's not my place to tell people how to live their life. That isn't taking away people's free will, Christian nationalism, because that's exactly what this is.
And sadly, Paul, you're right. And sadly, the guy who's the House Speaker today is the poster child for what we're talking about. Make no mistake about it. Mike Johnson is your evangelical Christian on the right. He is a radical. He is a MAGA supporter. And, you know, even worse, he's a guy that tried to overturn the outcome of the 2020 election. And that's who Stepanek wants. That's who, all these right-wing radicals, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's who they want as their House Speaker. I would actually say this is worse than McCarthy. As bad as I think McCarthy was, and he's got no backbone, this guy is more radical than McCarthy. This guy's the worst.
Well, I'm just going to say a lot of these people, like McCarthy, they're just not Christians. And I'm not saying this from a judgmental. If I go up to a tree and it's got oranges, it's an orange tree. If you're judging people and taking away their free will that God gave them, you're not a Christian. You're a Christian nationalist. But the reason I wanted to call was the Jenna Ellis yesterday. And this is what absolutely drives me bonkers, is her first statement is, as a person of faith. Really, I threw up in my mouth. I'm so tired of these fake evangelicals hiding. She knew this was wrong before she did it. She did it in 2020. She stood with Trump. She said nothing in 2021, 22, and 23.
Yeah.
Where was her moral outrage at the time over her faith?
It's a very good question.
She waited until the day that they were going to pick jurors before she pled guilty, and then she goes on this white Christian grievance about crocodile tears and nothing when January 6th happened, nothing about all these death threats and racial slurs to judges that are being threatened by white evangelicals, that love Jesus so much.
Right.
But all of a sudden, God forgives me, because she's had almost 4 years to do the right thing and she didn't. The only reason she did this is to save her bacon.
You're 100% correct. And by the way, you're talking about Jenna Ellis, right?
Yeah, the one from yesterday.
So here's what says it all. You're 100% right. So here's what says it all, Paul. Jenna Ellis, in her mugshot, was laughing. She's smiling. Yeah. She thought it was all a joke. On social media, the last several months at least, she's been going after people who think she was guilty, and she thought this was all a joke, and she thought MAGA Trump would help her. He didn't. And then, same thing with Mark Meadows that we haven't even got into, and I'm going to talk about that.
Right.
Mark Meadows, is the biggest snake of them all, and he only did what was convenient for him, and that was be a cooperating witness and take a plea deal. Same thing with Sidney Powell, same thing with Jenna Ellis. Listen, they're all going down like dominoes, but you know where the dominoes end? Donald J. Trump. He knows he is absolutely screwed, and everybody's testifying against him, and he can't help himself, and he's losing it by the day. Paul, great phone call as always.
Can I say one last?
Yes.
Can I say one last thing?
Quickly, go ahead. Yep.
The reason that the Republican Party is failing is there's a quote by Martin Luther King, and he says, "A true leader is not a searcher of consensus, rather a molder of consensus." The Republican Party will do anything to make their orange Jesus happy. They are not interested in governing, and that's why McCarthy got voted out. He did bipartisanship. He tried to find consensus, and that's what they don't want. That's because they're not leaders.
No.
They just want to do whatever their orange God tells them, and they won't stand up. And that's why I have respect, even though I disagree with them, and I know you agree, with Kinzinger and Cheney, is because they did the right thing. They weren't trying to be a search of consensus. Right, exactly. That's why that party, because they're not leaders, they're just going for the path of easiest resistance that's going to keep them in power.
Couldn't agree with you more. A true leader is somebody that puts not their party first. They put America first. They don't put themselves first in their own political careers. They're willing to call out people in their own party to do what's right. Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger fall under that, and history in the long term will always be on their side as they did the right thing. Paul, great to hear from you, my friend. I appreciate the call. Thank you, sir.
Later.
Appreciate it. 702-221-7283. Great call. 702-221-7283. I believe we have Kevin who's on the line next. Hi, Kevin. What's going on, man?
Hey, Brian. Great show as usual.
Thank you.
I just got back from Scotland for work, and I work in the liquor business, so you can imagine the place I got to go. Anyways, the United States and America and Americans are honestly a punchline on the global stage right now. And it includes everybody. It doesn't include, it's just not strictly Republicans. It's how the country is dealing with this and how we allow things to go. And it's funny that we talk about the LGBTQ community, the way that we treat them. Again, this is what they see. They don't see the compassionate part of people like you and myself and many of your callers that openly accept people for who they are. But, I mean, Trump is hated in Scotland. It's as simple as that. They honestly hate him in Scotland. But, yeah, we are literally a joke. I sat in the pub in Edinburgh, and this guy I never met before, and he goes, "You're an American?" I say, "Yes." He goes, "What the hell are you guys doing over there?"
Yeah.
And what was my comeback? Well, we have this and this. No, I just had to go, "You're right. We are an embarrassment." I mean, we can't call ourselves a democracy when we can't even govern our own people.
Well, Trump has ruined this country. I mean, as far as, first of all, hatred, bigotry, democracy, and Republicans today, well, I like his policies. I like this. And Joe Biden's ruining the country. And I say to them, how's Joe Biden ruining the country? Donald Trump basically wants to rip up our Constitution, right? He wants to be a dictator. If he had it his way, he would never want to leave the White House. He'd want to be in there for 20 years until he dies. And I say to myself, you can disagree with some of Joe Biden's policies, and you could disagree with a few things here and there, and that's fine, and I understand that. But when we look at Donald Trump and we look at the threat that he holds towards this country, I don't think some MAGA Republicans really, truly understand that. And now we have a guy by the name of Mike Johnson, and this concerns me a big deal. He's the next House Speaker. This is a guy in cahoots with Donald Trump who tried to steal the 2020 election. He has ultra-right, radical Christian values. If he had it his way, abortion would be illegal everywhere. This is very dangerous. We have another MAGA Republican, and this guy might even be worse than Jim Jordan, if that's even possible, and it's very concerning to me.
I think, I've caught a little bit about him, and from what I understand, you're absolutely correct. And the way, I don't know how they got a complete 220 vote with, I think, three people voted absent to put this guy in. I mean, I guess my question is, what is the moderates? What did they get out of it? Because they had to come to a consensus with someone, and they knew the moderates were going to go, okay, we're okay with certifying this. We all know it happened. It's all true. Nothing was stolen. You said it's been stolen, yet you produced no evidence. So it's true.
And it's such a coward. He said this guy Mike Johnson is such a coward because I played the audio at a press conference earlier today. An ABC reporter did their due diligence and asked him and said, can you talk about the attempt to try to overturn the 2020 election? And he didn't answer. He said, next question. Some of those that were standing next to him, like Steve Scalise and Stefanik, all laughed and booed because they thought it was some sort of joke of a question when it's a very legitimate question. And then we had this woman, Virginia Fox, who's on the education committee, who told the reporter to, quote, "Shut up. Welcome to where the Republican Party is at today."
Told him to shut up twice.
Right.
And you're right. And that's the scary thing. And that's why on the global stage, and I'm heading to Ireland in a few weeks, again for work. But I imagine that I'm going to get the same reaction because my friends who've gone over to Europe, I don't know about Japan and the Far East yet, but every time someone comes back from Europe, they'll say the same thing. My God, they make fun of us.
But listen, to be fair with you, Kevin, and I try to be fair on this show, there are Democrats that I have called out on this show, especially members of the squad, like Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, who seem, at least Tlaib, refuses to even call out Hamas for what they are, which is a terrorist group. We can disagree and have conversations about how Israel's handling it. I think those are fair conversations to have. Heck, I mean, I had a Palestinian who grew up in Gaza, 24-year-old going to school here in Vegas. We spoke for 90 minutes, on the show last week. But when you can't call out Hamas, like Tlaib, she should be thrown out of office because she's despicable. Just like the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts and the Jim Jordans, there are plenty of people that are, in my opinion, are despicable on the far right. We have some in the Democrat Party as well, and I wish Hakeem Jeffries would speak out on them and call them out as well, because that's, to me, that's what true leadership is. You're willing to call out people in your own party. Like, I love this guy Fetterman, okay? I might not like the way he dresses, right? But I love this guy Fetterman, and I love the fact that he has the courage to call out members of his own party as well as those on the other side of the aisle. Those are the type of leaders we need in Washington.
Well, now, here's a question for you, given everything you've been talking about going through. Do you think that after these years of seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, now, I'm in Matt Gaetz' district. I don't think it'll change here. But do you think that people in their district are going to go, wow, this person's a whack job, we've got to get him out of there? Or do you think they'll just go, yeah, we'll keep him?
It's a good question, and here's my problem in 2023. These are not policymakers, right? Jim Jordan, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're supposed to be lawmakers. There's a reason why they use the term lawmaker, but they're not lawmakers. They don't want to do anything to help the American people. All they want to do is make noise. They want to be loud. They want to get more, tweets out there and more followers. And then when they're outed out of Congress, get a job on Newsmax. They're not interested in actually putting new laws on the books and being actual real lawmakers. So to answer your question in short, the answer is no, really. I mean, these people are going to remain in office until, there are people, Republicans out there that have enough fortitude to say, hey, we don't want these MAGA Republicans in here. We want actual real lawmakers. But we don't have that in Washington, D.C. right now.
Right. Last thing, I'll let you go. Every time you say "to be fair," all I can think of is Letterkenny.
Right.
And if you know that reference, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I do, my friend. Kevin, it's good to hear from you. I appreciate the phone call. Call back anytime, okay?
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, Kevin. 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE, even though I cannot save all of you. I can't promise you that. All right, let's go to Carl. Carl is next on Pushing the Limits. What's up, Carl?
Hey, Brad. Listen, I brought this up a few times before, but you just brought it all up about the gay people against them and whatever. And people just don't understand. I try to make people understand that over 95 to 99% of gay people are born that way.
Sure.
What happens is the girl babies get an overabundance of male genes and chromosomes, and just the opposite side. And when they're born, that's the way they're born. And people who are against this and say, oh, they can be changed, that they shouldn't do that, what they're doing is these people usually are the very religious fanatics, and they have to then admit God made a mistake. Is that correct?
Yeah, and when you look at most of these people out there, like Mike Johnson, by the way, I want to announce that again, who's the House GOP Speaker now, in their ideology, in my opinion, they hide behind their bigotry, and then they use the excuse, well, I'm a Christian, or my religion tells me this or that. If you look at somebody else as a sinner, you know what it's like to me, Carl? It's like if you're born with one arm. Well, my religion tells me that if you're born with one arm, then you're a sinner. That's really what they're doing here. The overwhelming majority of people who are gay, they knew they were gay when they were 5 or 6 years old. And in the Mike Johnson MAGA Mike religion, right, of the ultra-right, far Christian attitude or belief or whatever you want to call it, they believe that if you're gay, you're a sinner. Even a first caller today in this segment, he has a belief system that not only is gay being a choice, but that if you are gay, it's somehow bad for society. Now, the definition of those people, to me, is a bigot. You are a bigot if you feel that way. And then they use the excuse of their religion to back up their bigotry. That's my thoughts on that.
Well, bigots, as I said before, if you're born gay, which close to 95 to 99% of people are, that means that if you're a bigot and you're anti-black, that means if a black baby is born or whatever, that was a mistake made by God.
Yeah, well, you know what I think the mistake is? The fact that Donald Trump was ever born. That's the biggest mistake to me. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, that was God's mistake. Not that people are gay in society, which I support that. I don't care what your
but
sexuality is.
you're being bigoted, though.
Yeah,
You
I
said
guess I'm
you're
a
being
bigot towards. I guess I'm a bigot towards MAGAs out there that feel that
Trump,
way about people who
no,
are
being
gay.
you're being bigoted against Trump. You said he should have been born.
Yeah.
Then you're a big bigot against people with very low IQs.
Yeah, I guess I
See,
am.
so-
I guess I am, Carl. Hey, Carl, always good to hear from you, my friend.
Okay.
Good phone call. Thank you very much.
Okay.
702-221-7283. By the way, I'm not the one that's dragging God into this. Mike Johnson is, the House Speaker. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Lance. Lance is next. What's up, Lance?
I just can't stop laughing when you said Fetterman's the kind of leaders we need.
Oh.
That's the funniest thing you've ever
So what's your
said
problem
on
with
the air.
Fetterman? Let's talk about that.
Well, he's 45 years old, doesn't own his own home, and lives with his parents.
Okay,
You don't
so
think
let's go with that.
You think that's a leader?
Okay, so first,
That's a
you're
leader.
talking about financials as someone who is not capable of being a leader because they don't own their own house, and you would rather have somebody that owns Mar-a-Lago that overestimates by $2 billion of how much his property is worth.
Let's not twist. Let's not twist
Oh,
what
no,
I said.
I just did,
said
sir.
he's
You're a MAGA
Mar-a-Lago.
supporter, right?
I said he never had a job, and he doesn't own a house, and he lives with his parents.
Okay.
That's what I said. That's
So,
what I was laughing.
actually,
You said that's
Fetterman
a good
does
leader.
have a job.
Tell me why that's a good leader.
Okay.
Tell me why that's a good leader.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So actually,
Tell me that.
He does have a job. He's in Congress in Washington, D.C., and he's getting paid, and he was voted in. So right now he does
He's
have
a
a
leader.
job.
He's a leader.
Okay,
He's
so,
a leader.
so give me
All right,
some.
my
give me-
second question
so
for you.
your
Let's
definition
forget
of
that.
somebody. Hold on a second. Let's backtrack a little bit. I'm happy to have this conversation with you. So you
Okay.
can't be a leader, according to Kevin, who called in, or I'm sorry, Lance. You can't be a leader, according to you, unless you own your own home. Do you know how many people in this country and in the world?
Oh my God!
Hold on a second.
You just,
Hold on a
let's
second.
Not
I'm
spin
not
it
done
the
yet.
wrong
Then
way.
it's your turn.
That's not
I'm not
what
done
I
yet.
said.
And then it's your
I
turn.
said he's never
Sir,
had a job.
Lance,
not that he doesn't
I'm
own
not
a home.
done yet.
You're just gonna,
Sir,
I'm not going to argue
Lance,
because you're not
Lance,
repeating.
pot him
Repeat
down
what I
because
said.
Lance doesn't know how to have a conversation. So Lance, there are a lot of people that are labeled leaders across this country that don't own their own home. They help out people in soup kitchens. They help out people as far as philanthropy. They help people, other people that might be poor. They might work for organizations like the NAACP. There's a lot of people in this country. They might not own their own home, but a lot of people still consider them leaders because they help people in many different ways. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah, great spin. Let me ask you a
No,
second
it's not a
question
spin at
because
all.
you take
Are
the
you?
whole
Is
right.
it your
The
take,
second
sir?
part is-
Sir, is it your take that you can't be a leader if you don't own a home? Because that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, and I think you're a complete idiot if you feel that way.
Well, I didn't say that, and you
No,
just spun
I'm
it
saying
differently,
that.
but that's fine because you always do. But here's
Sir,
the other question.
No, hold on. You just went after Fetterman, and I
Just call-
asked you
you just called
why,
me
and you said he
MAGA.
can't be a leader. Shut up and listen. You just said he can't be a leader,
Or
and you just
spin it.
brought up the
Spin
fact
it.
that he doesn't own a home. You're the one who made that statement,
Spin
not
it.
me, buddy.
Spin it.
You made that
Yeah.
statement, not
I
me.
said he didn't have a job. He's never had a job.
Okay, that's
He's
not
never had a
true.
job.
He actually has had a job. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and you're factually
Okay.
inaccurate. But you're the
Keep
guy who
spinning it.
thinks Donald Trump's a
Keep spinning
great
it.
leader, right, sir?
So let me just ask you a question. On
No,
that.
no,
What
no,
does
no, I just
MAGA
asked you
mean?
a
'Cause
question.
You, can't,
Do you think
say it a
Donald
lot.
Trump's a good
you
leader?
keep saying he's a MAGA.
Do you
No,
think
I'm not a
Donald
Donald
Trump is a good
I'm
leader?
not
Yes
a
or no? Answer the question, MAGA. Do you think Donald Trump is a good leader?
No, I'm not a Donald Trump fan. I'm a
So
Republican.
who do you think is a good leader?
I think there's a lot of great leaders out there.
Name me one. I want to know who you support. Who's a good leader?
How about Vivek Ramaswamy?
Okay, first of all, you don't even know how to pronounce his name because you're a dope. His name is Vivek Ramaswamy, so that's number one. Why don't you learn how to pronounce his name? Number two, Vivek Ramaswamy has never led anything. He's in the pharmaceuticals, and he made money overseas by taking advantage of loopholes with his failed drugs. And you're telling
never
me
led
that
anything.
Vivek Ramaswamy
He's taken-
is the leader that you want. What has he led, sir?
How about two companies that he sold both of them for over $1 billion? He's led companies that have got products to market in the
So
pharmaceutical
you think
industry.
Vivek
One of the most
Ramaswamy
impossible
is a
things
good
you can do.
businessman. That's a different
I-
definition
I-
than
look,
me saying
that's not-
he's a leader and he's
I
helped
don't want to
people
talk
in
about
his
your
life.
agenda. I don't want to talk about your agenda. I just want to ask you another question.
You're the one who brought up
and
the
my
date,
question
not
is,
me.
because you say it over and over again. You keep saying these MAGA Republicans, these
Yes,
MAGA.
sir. Yes, sir.
What does MAGA mean? What does it stand for?
Sure. So according to Donald Trump, it stands for Make America Great Again. So now I'll spin it back on you,
but you
sir.
don't like that.
So
you don't
let
think
me ask
America
you a
should be great
question,
again.
sir. Sir, I'm finishing
I just asked
answering.
you one.
Sir, I'm finishing answering your question. When was America great? When women weren't allowed to vote? When we had slavery? When was America great?
I would think America's been great for over 250 years.
So if America's been great for 250 years, then why is the slogan Make It Great Again? Because that would make the insinuation that right now America is not great.
Yeah, it is not great. You just had a caller saying how people laugh about us
so
overseas.
When was America not great, and when did it turn great? When was it great, and when was it not great?
I would say it started to be not great during the Vietnam War.
It started to
and
be
then I would
not
say it was not great during the Afghanistan War.
And you think
and then it was
Donald
not
Trump,
great during the Afghani War. And it's not great today because we don't know how to stand up for ourselves and represent the right people in the
Trump was the
world.
president.
Why do you hate Trump so much? Get past Trump.
Donald Trump is, to
Get
answer your
past Trump.
question, sir, Donald Trump is the, sir, I'm trying to answer your question, so maybe you'll listen to me and understand. Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party. Donald Trump is running for the presidency again. Donald Trump is the face of the Republican Party. So when somebody like you says, why do you keep talking about Donald Trump? You must have the same criticism for every other news outlet out there, including Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN. He is the leader of the Republican Party. That's why I talk about him.
Okay. So you realize
Did we clear
that not
that
all
up, sir?
Republican Party. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank
Here's
you.
a
I'm
wrong.
glad I was able to
He's not
educate
the
you. Go
leader
ahead.
of the. He's not the leader of the entire Republican Party.
Yes, he is, because he's running for
He
the
is not.
Yes, he is.
How did he get 10 votes against him?
Sir,
How did he get
who's the
10
most
votes against
popular
him to be
Republican
impeached?
right now? You know, who would you say is the most popular person right now with an R next to their name? Who is it?
I'm wondering how he got 10 votes
Answer
against
the
him
question.
to be impeached by Republicans.
Answer the question. Who is the most popular Republican right now in this country? Crickets. Hello. Earth to you,
Yeah,
sir. Earth
here's
to
the
Lance.
deal.
I will ask you now for a fourth time. Who is the most popular Republican in office right now?
It doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't
matter
to
to
you.
me.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter
matter to
to
me
Lance.
because
But
Trump's
it matters
gonna
to
be
Lance
gone in
because Lance
Trump,
thinks
Trump,
that Brian,
Trump.
bottom down again.
All you
Because
talk about
Lance
is
thinks,
Trump.
Lance thinks that I talk about Trump too much. And then when I ask him what is a very basic question, who's the most popular Republican? Obviously, it's Donald Trump. But he doesn't want to answer it because he's not intellectually honest. Is there anything else I can help out with you today, sir? Because I'm glad I was able to.
Because
anything else?
Because if I answer that question, you're going to spin it into something else. That's
You
not
haven't
my
answered the
point.
question. You haven't answered.
Because it does not matter.
It does
Trump's
not
only
matter
here for
who the
4
most
more
popular.
years.
Okay, so sir, here's
if
how
he
it
were
works.
to be elected,
Sir, here's
if he
how
were
it
to be
works.
elected,
Okay, it does matter. To
I think
somebody,
Biden does
sir,
a better job. 50
sir,
years in office.
Sir,
50 years
sir,
in office.
we can absolutely talk about Joe Biden. But see, sir, you asked why I talk about Donald Trump, and then I made a very basic correlation that anybody with an IQ of 20 would understand. I'm not sure you're at that point, sir, because you don't sound like you're very intelligent. But then again, you're a MAGA supporter, so I'm not shocked. You're a MAGA moron, okay? So Donald Trump is the most popular Republican out there. He happens to be running for president of the United States again, and he is the front runner of the Republican Party. That's why somebody like me talks about him, whether I like him or not. That's why I talk about him, sir. Just like if you would want to talk about Joe Biden, who's our president and the leader of the Democrat Party. You have a problem with listening, sir. You have a problem with understanding and listening. That's why I talk about Donald Trump. Does that still not make any sense to you, sir? I'm trying to be very patient with you.
Yeah. No, you talk quite a bit. You own the show.
Okay. Calm down again. I'll talk some more. I'm a radio host, you idiot, and it's my job to talk. That is my job. Now, it's not my job to sit back for 15 minutes and listen to some right-wing idiot buffoon like you, because that's exactly what you are. You are a moron. You can't answer questions, and then when you ask a question and I answer it, you just befuddle and you stutter worse than Joe Biden, and you don't know how to answer it, sir, because you're a moron. That's why.
Fetterman's a great leader. Fetterman's a great
He's
leader.
He's a better leader than you. You know what? What do you do for work, sir? What do you do for work? Why don't you tell us what you do for work, sir? You coward.
Like you, I don't work for $30,000 a year in a local radio station.
How many homes do you own, and what do you do for work? And by the way, that's a lie. Fetterman does own his own home. It was fact-checked, and you're a buffoon and you're a liar. Fetterman lives with his wife and kids, and he owns his own home.
Why do you make so many calls?
Sir,
why do you have to call
did you hear
people
what
names?
I just said? Pot him down again.
Yeah, you can't have a
Pot him down again.
conversation.
Your premise, sir, which was based on a lie, is that Fetterman doesn't own his own home. You're a liar. He lives with his wife and kids, and he does own his own home. So now I'll do what you did. Ha, 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 ha. Have a nice day, you dope. Have a nice day. It's always fun destroying my MAGA friends on this show, and I enjoy doing that one. By the way, Fetterman does own his own home. This guy is a liar. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But to him, a real leader is the orange turd, Donald Trump. Do we need to say anything more about some of these MAGA idiots? We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to lower, maybe we'll lower the temperature a little bit. I don't know. But my good friend Blake Gwynn from Keller Williams is going to be joining us next. Plenty to get to with him. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. And tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Gwynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well. So I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Gwynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best tavern, keno, and video poker in Vegas. Promos are how we roll to make the most of your gaming dollars here with us. Come play our proud partner gaming promotion, Fly Aviators Fly, and receive daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win awesome brand of prizes and big money for all the jackpots each week. It's not only great gaming that Steiner's Pub has, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and Vegas' best appetizers to match. So join us in supporting your Las Vegas Aviators, Golden Knights, Lights, Aces, and the Raiders as we make history in Vegas. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub at 8410 West Cheyenne, 1750 North Buffalo, and Las Vegas Boulevard at Windmill. Steiner's, I love this place.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
located only 4 miles from downtown Colorado Springs and just 10 miles from Pikes Peak. Hyatt Place Colorado Springs Garden of the Gods offers spacious rooms featuring contemporary decor with stylish furnishings, including divided living and sleeping areas, the Hyatt Grand Bed, state-of-the-art media and work center, a 42-inch flat-panel high-definition television that easily integrates with laptops and other devices, and complimentary breakfast is included in your stay. Hyatt Place Colorado Springs Garden of the Gods at 503 West Garden of the Gods Road. Visit HyattPlace.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a very busy and hectic Wednesday. It is always fun when I get to talk to my MAGA friends that call into the show. I'll say that. We got a lot to get to, a lot to talk about. Another, from a sports perspective, oh my God, another Vegas Golden Knights W. Come from behind win against the Philadelphia Flyers yesterday. They're undefeated. I think they're 7-0 now, right? If I'm not mistaken, which is unbelievable. Las Vegas Aces had their big parade on Monday night. Didn't really get a chance to talk too much about that. And the Raiders in turmoil. We'll get to all this stuff and keep going with some of the political stuff that's going on in the world with, of course, my friend Blake Wynn from Keller Williams. You hear his ads on this show all the time. And always fun having Blake on the show because I can mix it up and talk to him about anything and everything. Could be sports, could be politics, and he always has a honest view. And I always appreciate him coming in and mixing it up with me for the second hour. Blake, good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
I am excited to be here yet again. What are we chatting about today?
Well, I like your hat, by the way.
So, limited edition Barstool Sports. It's got it right when the Knights won, and I was like, man, Sin City champions, baby, and it's something that I have not seen anybody else have. So
I like it.
Went with that, and I thought it'd be good to go hit some golf balls with you later.
Yeah,
today.
I got to hit some balls this afternoon, and I haven't swung a golf club in a little while, so that's going to be fun. I know you've had some shoulder issues. So.
Yeah, I haven't swung a golf club since May, and then in June when I had my shoulder surgery. So excited to get out there, see what we've got. Take that 13 handicap. It's probably at 100 right now.
No, I don't think it's that high. You're a good athlete. But there's so much going on. It's funny. The first hour, I've been talking, Blake, about the new House Speaker.
Yeah.
Listen, he's a MAGA Republican, and people are like, well, Brian, what's a MAGA? What's a MAGA Republican? And, these days, somebody that kisses the ring of Donald Trump, quite frankly. But, excuse me, I didn't even get a chance to talk about this. It was huge news yesterday, which is Mark Meadows has just flipped, and he's just pled guilty. And you look at Sidney Powell, and you look at others that have already pled guilty. I think there's 4 total now. And it appears to me, and you tell me if you disagree, that the walls are kind of caving in on Donald Trump.
From everything that I'm kind of understanding and reading, I know that I can't remember her name, the female reporter, all I could see was all over every single news outlet was her crying when she was pleading guilty. It sounds like the walls are coming in. I think that your prediction of Trump possibly being guilty and maybe doing some jail time. I don't know if he'll ever do jail. I think it'll be parole if anything happens. But it's interesting the way the dominoes are falling right now. I mean, Mark Meadows flipping, that's a huge one because that was Trump's right-hand man.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think when it comes to Mark Meadows, he's obviously going to do what's good for him, not what's good for Donald Trump when he's put in a situation like this. That's with everybody. This is a big deal. And I'm a little surprised this early that Mark Meadows has flipped, but I'd have to think, like many of the others that have flipped, they knew that they would probably go to jail. And they're facing serious charges, and you accept a plea deal, and you're willing to testify against Donald Trump. Obviously, it's bad news for Donald Trump, and Trump is melting down by the day. I mean, he went on Truth Social yesterday saying, I don't think Mark Meadows would do this. I don't think he would do this.
Well, he did.
He sends these signals.
He did. So if the only reason that you take a plea deal is because evidence was brought forth to you that you go, oh, boy, I can't overcome that one. And whatever that evidence was scared Mark Meadows and that female attorney enough to say, look, I'll take the plea deal. So we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I don't think he'll ever do jail. I really don't. But it'll be interesting if he is found guilty, does he run for president? Is it Trump versus Biden?
Well, I think he will because again, looking out for himself, Donald Trump knows that his only way out of this is if he becomes the next president of the United States, so he can pardon himself. I think that's the main reason. The main reason why Donald Trump wants to become president again. The guy wants to pardon himself.
See, I would be adamantly against that. I don't think that you could. I don't have a problem with you pardoning certain people within the sphere. Maybe somebody who is wrongfully convicted.
Right.
But I don't believe that the powers should be, if you were president, you should be able to do it for yourself. I don't think that should not be allowed. That should not be an executive power.
I tend to agree with you, and I think that, at least in my personal opinion, I tend to believe in every day that goes by, Blake, we're in unprecedented times, but I actually think Donald Trump's going to go to jail. I think he's going to be a convicted felon, and I think eventually he'll probably see some jail time. When you have, in these RICO cases, you have all these people that are going to be testifying against him, and they're giving all these people, some would consider it a sweetheart deal, a plea deal where they're going on probation, like Jenna Ellis. You go on probation for 5 years, but you have to testify against Trump. They're putting all this stuff together and getting all these people to spill the beans on Donald Trump, because in the end of the day, I think that, Donald Trump's probably going to go to jail. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, look, like I said, let's see how everything plays out, but I'll make a little $5 bet with you. You say he's going to jail. I say he's not.
Well, how much time do we have here?
Well, we'll wait out. I mean, what? We got a year or so, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll take a little bit more than that. I think it'll be past the elections, and it's going to be very difficult to put a former president in jail. That's definitely not easy. At the same time, you have all this mounting evidence and all these corroborating witnesses and all these people that have taken plea deals. The evidence, to me, it's just mounting on this guy, and I don't know how he gets out of this. I really don't.
I don't either. I don't know how the public views, especially independents, a Trump running for president that is found guilty of, I guess, insurrection. You've got, I guess, voting crimes. I guess is that kind of what he's going under? I'm not exactly sure of every single thing that he's going under.
Fake electorate scheme.
Because it's like 51 different counts.
Yeah, well, 91 felonies he's facing.
There you go, 91.
And certainly a part of that, the fake electorate scheme, also go back to Jack Smith and the classified documents case, defying a subpoena for a year. I mean, there's so many things that Donald Trump is facing right now, and it's scary. Apparently, this happened today. And I'm just within the hour, I think, where Donald Trump just angrily stormed out of the courtroom after the judge denied a motion to dismiss from Eric's lawyer. Trump just stormed out. Apparently, a $10,000 fine for violating a gag order means Trump will make 100 times that when it is used as a fundraiser tonight, I guess. But the judge is literally incentivizing Trump to violate it by making it profitable for him to do so. That's according to Ron Flipowski, who has a pretty large following on social media. A Trump spokesperson said that Democrat judge under control of radical Letitia James continues to harass President Trump, doing all possible to infringe on President Trump's First Amendment right to free speech and to interfere in the 2024 presidential election. These corrupt efforts directed by crooked Joe Biden will fail. And by the way, that's also a lie, because this isn't directed by anything in regards to Joe Biden.
You know, I feel like throughout my careers, I've had different careers, and I've had and learned different respects for different people within their professions. Whether or not Trump believes he is right or wrong, you have to at least have some respect for the court. You have to. That judge has earned that position, and he deserves respect. That's where I'm at with that. I think it's incredibly disrespectful for Trump to get up and leave the room, show some class, show some leadership. Fighting it and screaming like a little kid does not help the narrative that he's trying to push. And again, he's going to be losing on independence.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I haven't spoken. Have you spoken to anybody, Blake, that voted for Joe Biden in 2020 that's flipping and will vote for Donald Trump? Because I haven't found any of those people. I know there's people that might be unhappy, but I haven't found anyone that said, hey, I'm going to vote for that guy Trump over Biden, even though I voted for Biden.
So my sphere, I have people on all sides. Mm-hmm. I was actually just talking with one of my attorney friends, Aaron Wander. He's a fantastic personal injury. We were just talking about that exact subject yesterday, about how he's like, yeah, you know, I know you're a conservative, but, you know, he's like, I'm not exactly stoked with Biden. But he's like, but I'm going to vote for him again, because what's the alternative?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a pretty progressive guy. I get it. So it's the independence is what wins you the elections. And so if you are not catering to them, then you're out. And so the way Trump is acting, the way the evidence is coming out, unfortunately, Trump is going to lose independence. And if he loses independence, he loses the race.
Yeah, I don't think he wins. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say there's no chance, but I certainly don't think he wins. And I absolutely, even though I don't want Joe Biden to run again, Blake, you know me, I've talked about that a lot on this show, but I do believe Joe Biden beats, Donald Trump. I don't think it would be that close.
I think if the way that Biden beats Trump is a referendum just like it was before, it's a vote against Trump, not a vote for Biden.
But, Blake, I got to tell you, I'm worried. I'm worried about a lot of things going on in this country. But, we have this new House GOP Speaker, Mike Johnson. And if you don't know a lot about Mike Johnson, he tried to steal the 2020 election. He's an election denier. I don't care if you're Christian, Jewish, I don't care what your religion is, just separate it from your politics, separation between church and state. Clearly, he is not that person, because if he had it his way, he'd ban abortion across the country. So he's a radical person. He's dishonest. He tried to overturn the outcome of the 2020 election. This is a guy who is against basically anything that is pro-LGBT. And I'm worried, because I think this guy's worse than McCarthy. While McCarthy didn't have much of a backbone, and while McCarthy kissed the ring of Donald Trump, I didn't feel like he was the radical that this guy is. And that's why I'm worried. If I'm a person who happens to be gay in this country, if I'm a person of color, minority, I'm worried. Because I just think this guy is dangerous. And he appeals to the MAGA base of the Republican Party, which is not the entire Republican Party. I'm not saying that. But listen, Emory, I thought he was going to be the next House Speaker. He voted to certify the 2020 election. He is not the radical that Mike Johnson is, but they didn't vote for him because he wasn't radical enough. He wasn't extreme far right enough.
Yep, I agree.
I'm just I'm worried now of where this party is going is very dark.
It's incredibly disheartening to watch the Republican Party almost self-implode.
Yeah.
I've talked about it on this radio show before. I don't have a home anymore in this political realm. We've got Republicans that are constantly fighting abortion. They're constantly against gays. Why? I don't know. Again, I agree with your statement. Separation of church and state. I don't bring your religious views and govern on them. I don't want that. And I think we have so much more important things than past 14 to 21 days we're sitting over here trying to fight over a House Speaker when we've got two wars going on right now. We've got one in Ukraine. We've got the one in Gaza and Israel. Mm-hmm. And there's so many other pressing issues. We've got homeless veterans. We've got cities that are just overrun with crime. And yet here the Republicans are, again, fighting or infighting and all worried about a speaker position. I could give two you-know-whats about it. I care more about let's get to the job that you were elected to, stop infighting, and start fighting for the people that you represent.
Right. No, I'm with you 100%, Blake. And it's just where we're at in this country right now. It's really weird. It's crazy. It's strange. Your grandfather, who was a great governor here, he was willing to, and he did a great job in working with people on the other side of the aisle. I feel like we've lost that. And in my lifetime, a moment that resonates for me is a moment, that I talk about a lot on this show involving John McCain, where, he's running against Barack Obama. And some ignorant buffoon lady takes the microphone and she calls, Barack Obama an Arab, and among other things. And McCain just takes that microphone from her. And he takes that microphone and he just says, "No, ma'am.
He's a
Barack
good
Obama
man.
is a decent man. We just happen to disagree on policy." And I don't think we're going to get, in our lifetime, I'm not sure we're even going to get back to that place. But that was a fine moment for not only John McCain, but it was a fine moment for both parties.
But it was something that everybody could get behind.
Right.
Like,
well, not everybody. Not the racists out there and the bad people. But
I remember that election vividly. I did vote for John McCain. I thought he was a fantastic
man.
Well, he was a great statesman.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much about Barack Obama because really he only served, one term in Congress and then I think, or was it Senate? Then it was only 2 years.
Senator,
and then immediately was there for president.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the political environment is a scary one. It's crazy watching some of your friends being so far left or so far right that you really can't have a conversation with them. The election of Trump has really divided families. Thanksgiving dinner gets a little, woo, especially at my house because I've got people from both sides. And so we try to leave politics at the door, but, you can get a couple drinks in. That never happens. And so I long for the days in the future where we can all kind of come together as a country. There has to be something that will reunite us. Almost, I hate saying it, but like 9/11. 9/11 reunited this country like I've never seen before. And we need something, I'm not saying of that catastrophe, but there has to be something that brings us together.
Isn't
again.
it sad, though, that we have to have something bad to happen in order to bring Republicans and Democrats together? I just don't understand the hatred and the bigotry. I don't understand the fear. I don't even know if I call it fear of Donald Trump, but I feel like, and some of these people, I guess, are right. I guess I'm answering my own question, but they're afraid that they are going to not be in power anymore, and they're going to lose their power within the Republican Party if they denounce anything that is Donald Trump.
Yeah, but see, that's the issue with politics, is the power. It is a perceived power over us, the voting constituents, and I'm sick of it. They go up there and they say, I'm going to vote with your best interests and give me your money and I'm going to vote for you. And they never do, ever, especially the Republicans right now. They are voting against their constituents' favor.
And, I have this dope that calls into the show, the latter end of the calls I got. And most of the calls I got were, by the way, very, very intelligent and good people and good calls. But I got this idiot who calls into the show because I'm talking about Fetterman and I'm trying to make the case that true leadership, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, is you're willing to call out those in your own party. And we agree that, members of the squad are despicable. Ilhan Omar and Tlaib, they're just bad people and, in my opinion, anti-Semitic. So Fetterman, the point I'm trying to make is Fetterman called them out. And I appreciated that he did that. I wish more Democrats would do that, right? It's one of my biggest criticisms today with the Democrat Party and Hakeem Jeffries. You got to call out your own. So I said, that's what leadership looks like. So an idiot, I'm assuming he was a MAGA, calls in and he starts laughing. And I'm like, what's funny? And he says, Fetterman doesn't even own his own home. By the way, we found out that's not true. So he starts off the call by lying and spreading misinformation. A shocker that a MAGA would do that. What a shocker. Fetterman does own his own home. He has a lovely wife and kids, and he seems like he's a pretty good husband, a pretty good father, and a guy that's been through a lot. And I think leadership is also getting up there and saying, yeah, I suffered from depression. Here's what I went through. And he just did that the other day. Mm-hmm. He spoke with a bill, by the way, that was sponsored by Democrats and Republicans to help people that are depressed. And the guy gets up there and gets emotional, wears his heart on his sleeve and says, here's what I went through. I won my election against Dr. Oz, but I felt like I lost, and I didn't want to get out of bed because the man was suffering from depression, and I'm glad he's doing better now. But he shares his story with others. To me, that's what leadership... Listen, I don't like the way the guy dresses, okay? But that's a decent human being. He's willing to call out those in his own party, and he's willing to talk and be vulnerable and talk about mental illness and some issues that he's gone through. And this joker calls in who doesn't know what he's talking about. Even if that was true, for example. Let's just say Fetterman never owned his own home. Let's just say that was true. So what? So what? Are you mocking people because they might not have the finances to own their own house, and because of that they can't be a great leader? There are people that are homeless on the streets that are still at least leaders among their friends. They help people. They get people food, water. That's maybe on a smaller scale, but you don't have to be wealthy and own your own home to be a leader. But this clown calls up and makes that the case. He just made himself sound like a complete bozo.
I know many people within this community. I follow a lot of people on social media, within the real estate industry, where they don't own their own home. They like the freedom of not being tied down to a mortgage. They want to be able to, heck, if I want to live in New York for a year, I can rent from there and I can go here. So I don't think having a home ownership should be a qualifying factor.
Yeah, and then he says, I
do think, actually leading people in a business setting or having some sort of experience like that should be a qualifying.
The guy, I asked him, I said, who do you think is a good leader? And he pronounced his name wrong, but he said Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, he might be a good leader for himself and his immediate family to make money, but that doesn't mean he can lead the country because he had some businesses that made some money. I mean, that's a joke. That doesn't mean that you have the leadership qualities to run a country.
Yeah, I remember hearing with Vivek, I call him the fake now, and I was really intrigued with him. He was on Patrick Bet David, and I'm listening to him, and he's going through all the Soros issues that he had, and he really is just a talking point machine of Republican points, and everyone's like, oh yeah, all the crazies, that's what I want to hear. But then you start digging into this business, and so that first business that he sold for $1 billion. That drug had failed multiple times. He buys the company. He puts his own wife and mother on the approval board, gets it approved, sells the company. What happens immediately a year later? The drug fails yet again, and he walks away with his money.
He's a snake.
So, yeah, that is not leadership to me. That's a con artist.
Couldn't agree with you more.
So, the fake, I am no longer in agreement with. I don't want to hear him. I don't want to see him. That's where I stand on Vivek.
Yeah, and I like Vivek. I think I'm going to steal that from you if that's okay. He's a mini Donald Trump. He's that's all he is. But somebody like that will laugh at a guy like a Fetterman because he at one point he didn't own a home. It's just a ridiculous take. But yet Vivek Ramaswamy, takes advantage of people, sells his companies, sells drugs that fail, and somehow that makes him a leader because he made money. It's absurd. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about maybe some more pleasant things, some positive things. The Vegas Golden Knights came back down 2-1 yesterday in the third period. They beat a pretty good Philadelphia Flyers team. They are off. They're making history again, and we're only a few weeks into the season. They are off to the best start that any Stanley Cup winner has had the following season. They're now 7-0. A pretty incredible start from this team. The Aces just celebrated their back-to-back championship. I do have some criticism for the Aces, though, that I'll share with Blake, and we'll see if he agrees or not on that. Talk a little bit about the housing market in Las Vegas as well. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent, on-site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. And tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well. So I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
At the Bagel Cafe, the recipe is simple, good food, and generous portions. Family owned and operated since 1996, the Bagel Cafe is a unique restaurant where you can get anything your appetite desires. From a bagel and a schmear to piled high corned beef on homemade rye, fresh fruit platters and salads, or creamy New York cheesecake. Check them out at thebagelcafeLV.com. The Bagel Cafe, where there's something delicious for everyone.
Interesting choice of music that I think C-Win needs to listen to and calm his ass down. That's what I think. Then it gets, okay, it sounded like massage music to start. It gets a little more jumpy. Welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits. On a Wednesday, we got the big man, Paul McKeskey, coming in studio tomorrow. The NBA heating up. Lakers didn't look too good yesterday. We'll talk about that. But let's see on a scale 1 to 10 how good my live read capabilities are. Let's give it a shot here. You ready? Here we go. All right, so you might recognize this name. His name is Blake Gwynn. His grandfather was the former governor of the great state of Nevada, Kenny Gwynn. And if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, you don't want to talk to anybody any better than someone that's lived here his entire life. That would be Blake Gwynn of Keller Williams Group. If you're thinking of buying or selling a home, you don't want to talk to anybody else. He gave my family some excellent advice as they moved here not that long ago, and he will do the same thing for you and your family. Please give Blake Gwynn a call over at the Keller Williams Group. It's 702-540-3311. Again, that number, 702-540-3311. And tell them that I sent you. You also get $1,000 cash back if you mention this show, PTL Nation. 702-540-3311. Blake Gwynn, you won't be disappointed. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good did I do?
That was fantastic.
Was that good?
Yeah,
okay.
I want to call myself. Man, it is. Dial a phone number. Can I get it again? 702-540-3311. Man,
I'm glad you enjoyed that. I wanted to do it right in front of you.
You want to talk about a real estate market that has shifted literally within the past month so rapidly that it really does matter actually who you actually meet with, whether especially if you're selling right now.
I have one qualm to make though about the market in general, and this is not really, maybe it's not pertaining to the neighborhoods where you sell homes, but I am really frustrated with the construction, and I am really frustrated with the F1, which I will not be in town that weekend. Now, that's a good thing for what you do because it brings more people to Vegas. It's good for the economy. Listen, I get all that stuff.
Yeah, but for locals down there are infuriated because of the constant traffic.
It's awful,
I mean,
man.
it's there. I've got people who work in casinos, and they absolutely hate it. Hate it.
I'm going to hear something funny. I'm going to name drop right now. So I'm in my car. It's like the start of a joke, but it's actually reality. I'm in my car with Vivica A. Fox. Yes, that did happen. And
what does
I think
the
it was
Fox
the morning.
say?
It was the morning we grabbed breakfast and I took her to the airport. And we're driving around the Strip and we're in front of like the Bellagio, right? And Vivica loves Vegas. She comes here a lot. And she's like, "What happened to the trees?" And I'm like, "Well, here's what happened to the trees, Vivica." And I gave her the rundown on why they cut these trees down.
Okay,
and
why did I was asking this question we had an economic forum, and I was asking the question, why the hell are they cutting down the trees in front of the Bellagio?
Viewing for F1. They're putting up stands.
They put stands up there.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
There's stands.
They cut down the trees.
So if you drive down right now, you will not see the fountains go off.
Yes, that's true.
There's a full-on grandstand in front of the fountains.
It's gross.
So as a country, we're sitting here complaining about global or climate change, and all of a sudden we're just going to cut down some trees for some sports cars. Okay, that's good. Good, got it. All right.
Pretty much. So that's why that happened, and I told her, and it's just, and then we're at Paris. We're having breakfast there at Paris Casino, and looking outside, you want to see the beautiful Bellagio fountains and the trees, and it's just a bunch of stands and a bunch of construction workers, and it was loud, it was annoying, and it's just like, listen, I get it. This is really good for the economy. It's a good thing for Vegas, but how many people do you have to inconvenience for money?
Quite a few.
And I, for one, am not a race car fan. I'm not saying it doesn't take talent and ability, because clearly it does. It's not that I don't respect the drivers. It takes a lot of skill to be driving the cars as fast as they drive the cars and put your life on the line every day. It's not that I don't respect the drivers. I just don't enjoy the sport of it. When you're especially relying on, human element, but also the race car.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't enjoy the sport and watching cars. Listen, when you see crashes and all that stuff, people gawk and they watch it, and I get it. But it's like, I've been to the Motor Speedway here in Vegas. I don't understand the sport. I will never understand the sport. I don't know why people enjoy it so much. I find it incredibly boring, and they're selling tickets and packages on the Strip for $5, $6, $7, $8 grand to sit there and watch some cars go round and round. And I'm sorry, folks, I don't understand
That's
it.
your stance right there. That's what you're going to be doing.
I don't get it.
That's all you're going to do.
I will tell you, so the new F1 video game, they actually made the track for Vegas, and you play it at night. And so you're going by. I saw a video of it.
That sounds fun.
It's really cool.
That sounds fun.
So I get why they're doing the race at night. I mean, the optics of it during the actual race are going to be huge. I mean, it's going to bring a ton of eyes to people that would have never watched it before. My buddy Mike McNamara got me kind of hooked on the F1 series on Netflix. But I will tell you, yesterday it impacted me. So I'm down showing some condos off of Royal Crest, down off Sahara and in Paradise. And I'm like, oh, I'll just get back to the office. I'm going down Flamingo, blocked. Try to go down Trop, blocked. And it's just like, how inconvenient is that? I can't get to the highway from Paradise and Flamingo. Can't get to the highway right there. That's a huge inconvenience. So that's just me one time. My cousin works in the Howard Hughes building. All those people are horribly impacted.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, and I'm going to be probably out of town that weekend. So I had nothing but, and I continue to have just about nothing but great things to say about the Aces, right? Mark Davis has done a great job, opposite of the Raiders, but he's done a great job with the Aces from a standpoint of winning. Becky Hammon's an unbelievable coach. She's done a phenomenal job. I'm not going to sit here and say she's the best coach in the world because I think that's absurd. She's a really good head coach, and she's the best coach in the WNBA. She won a Summer League championship with the men. She's great. She's awesome, and we have some great players, and it's a great atmosphere, and I have nothing bad to say about the organization, but I will say this. What is this us against the world mentality? We're the victims, and everybody was talking down to us, and everybody was saying we couldn't do it. What the F are they talking about? First of all, they were the odds-on favorite to win the WNBA championship all year. And even after they went down with a couple injuries in Game 4, and that was a great win, a great win. And, yeah, their backs were up against the wall. They did deal with some adversity is the word I was going to say. When you lose two of your starting players, no question, and they had a nice win in Game 4. But they were still the favorites to win the series, overwhelming favorites. And I say to myself, what are you guys talking about? Who are the ones talking smack about you? Some trolls on social media? Well, why are they playing victim of us against the world when it's actually the opposite of that, and they're lying? Like, I don't understand.
I hadn't heard from them in regards to that, but having played sports my entire life, including especially team sports, is sometimes a coach has to find a motivating factor.
Okay, but Blake, I get that. I totally get that point. But here's the point I'm making. We're not talking about in the middle of the season or in a playoff series. We're talking about when it's over and they've already won. I totally agree with what you're saying. Coaches try to find things.
Right.
Athletes try. I don't have a problem with that at all. My problem is the season's over. You won.
So you're upset with them saying that's their mantra moving forward.
What is this us against the world? You were the odds-on favorite to win the series. You have the best fans in the WNBA. You have tons of more supporters than haters. What is this adversity? I understand that Candace Parker was hurt. She's nowhere near her prime anymore. You dealt with a little bit of adversity in Game 4, but it's like, what are they talking about? Oh, we were up against the wall all year. You had a player that got arrested for domestic violence. Okay, well, that wasn't anybody but her fault. And Candace got hurt. I get that. You can make the argument maybe they were better without Candace Parker. So, like, I don't understand this us against the world mentality. Will you just stop? And, I had Natalie Williams on the show a few days ago, and in this aspect, she agreed with me because I kind of brought this up, and I think Natalie's the best. She's a gold medalist. She's the general manager of the Aces. I love Natalie.
She was great on the show the other day.
She's phenomenal. I love Natalie. But it's like, dude, keep the trash tossing on the court, right? Larry Bird is known as probably one of the best trash talkers in the history of the game, and there's quite a few. He's one of them. Larry Bird didn't really do any trash talking off the court. He did it on the court. Gary Payton, same thing. The best trash talkers are the ones that do it on the court and then leave it alone. Enjoy your win. It's like Sydney Colson. Okay, fine. What did she play? 5 minutes the entire series? And she's like, night. It's like, okay, I get it. One of the players on the other team during the series, trash talked to her and said, sit your ass on the bench or something. All right. So you say something back when you're, but it's like, come on. What did you score? 2 points the entire series?
Yeah.
That's not the person I want to hear from.
I've always come from the mentality that you can't talk trash unless you are a contributor.
I mean,
that's just me. I mean, you can do that as a fan, but if you're on the team, the only way you talk trash is if you're contributing to the actual team.
Agree.
Because then that gives you actual leverage and say, look, I can kick your butt.
Yeah, did Sydney even make a shot in Game 4? I mean, I know she played some minutes for her substantial, but it's like, come on, man. Give me a break. Can we just stop it, okay? Sydney, knock it off.
I will tell you, and I don't know if it was on your show or if I was listening to another one, because I'm an AM radio just whore. I really am. I don't know if I can say that on the radio.
You just did. You just did.
But I think it was on your show where the general manager was talking about the coach possibly getting offers for the NBA.
Yes.
I don't ever see that happening. And the reason being, it's a respect thing, and I just don't see the NBA players respecting her enough as a woman to say that she can come and do that with him to the NBA.
So there's a part of me that agrees with you, and there's a part of me that disagrees. Let me start with the part that agrees with you. She won the NBA Summer League as the head coach. I believe the Spurs, if I'm not mistaken, because Greg Popovich has had nothing but nice things to say about her. She does have experience as an assistant. With that being said, I also understand there's a big difference between being an assistant and being the head coach. She has the blessings of Greg Popovich. I always thought when Greg Popovich retires, she could take over. And I still feel that way. That could happen. But Pop just said he's going to stay another 5 years, so I don't know if that's true or not. I feel like if the window was closed, and this is the statement that I'm getting from Paul McKeskey, who knows a lot more about this stuff than I do, and he said he thinks it's back open again. The way that Becky Hammon won this series on the road in Game 4 was very, very impressive without her two starters. So I'm 50-50 on this, Blake. Now, we're not in the next year or two, probably not, but I could see it happening 5 years from now. I could see it happening when she's got 3 or 4 WNBA championships in 5 years, and Pop says, okay, I'm going to call it quits. Let's get her to be the new head coach. I don't think it would ever happen in the college game, but I could see it happening in the NBA. I could. I'm not saying it will, but I think it could happen.
I'm not saying it because of a sexist feeling I have because she's a woman.
I know that.
I just
Reality.
don't think that the NBA culture in a whole would accept a female as a head coach. I just don't see. I don't think that she could command the locker room. That's just where I'm coming from.
Well, times are changing, and again, I don't know. But times are changing, and what I do like about her credentials is that, and even though some might not think it's a big deal, being the top assistant coach to Popovich is a big deal. It shows one of the most respected head coaches in the NBA in history is giving that kind of respect to her. That's important. That's number one. And number two, winning an NBA Summer League is kind of a big deal in this situation, because you have the first head female coach ever in an NBA Summer League team, and she wins the whole thing. So you might be right. I don't know, but I know one thing for sure. The Aces want her to stay here.
Well, and you should pay her just like they need to keep Lindy LaRocque here as well.
Yes, LaRocque has...
You've got 2 fantastic female head coaches, and you need to keep them here. And
LaRocque has completely turned the UNLV women's program around.
UNLV, if you're hearing me...
Yep.
Pay Lindy.
Well, Eric Harper, I got to tell you, if you had said that under Desiree Reed-Francois, I wouldn't have any confidence in it. Eric Harper, the guy knows what he's doing. He's a good athletic
I was so happy
director.
that Desiree got fired, and I'm
the
happy
worst.
the trash that she
The
hired
Joker.
was gone too.
Desiree Reed-Francois was probably the most clueless person I've ever interviewed in my life, and I've interviewed quite a few. Absolutely clueless. Her idea of getting people in the stands at UNLV games was giving some students a couple free tacos. She's a complete bozo. I called her the Joker. That's the way she dressed, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with the way somebody dresses as long as you know what you're doing. She didn't. She was a terrible athletic director here. She hired people that didn't want to be here. The Marcus Arroyo hire was an absolute joke.
Horrible. We talked about
that. And just as bad as that hire was, just as good of a hire of Odom, and I give Harper all the credit in the world. It was a phenomenal hire, and the UNLV football program is in really good hands.
Man.
Really good hands. I'm really happy for them. Listen, the LaRocque stuff, you're 100%. I mean, Harper's got to do everything he can to keep her. As far as Kevin Kruger goes, and I have the utmost respect for the Kruger family. They're wonderful people. Love Lon Kruger, and I like Kevin. He's a good dude. He's got to win this year. He's got to win this year.
This season is a prove-it season.
Yes.
He's lived off of the transfer portal. And so he essentially lost everybody last year. I know he's got in some really good recruits. But going to the UNLV games back when, Dave Rice was here, Billy Bano, and the student section, everybody, it was packed. And now you go and there's like 5 or 10 students. It's just not exciting anymore.
Yeah.
When Lon was there, it was fantastic. It was a boring brand of football because it was or basketball because it was all defensive. But he has got to win this year because if not, unfortunately, I think you go make a splash higher.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to.
So I think in order for Kevin to keep his job, he's got the players now, at least from what I've heard. You don't have to win the conference, but you have to compete in the conference. What I mean by that is top 3. You have to be top 3 in the conference this year.
And you got to win at least a game or 2 in the Mountain West Conference. You have to.
I think getting to I agree with you. I think getting to the finals of the Mountain West Conference would be great. And let's be honest here. If you're top 3 in the Mountain West regular season, if you get to the finals of the Mountain West Conference, at minimum you're in the NIT, but you're probably in the NCAA tournament.
We haven't been to the NCAA championship in 8-10 years?
It's been quite a while.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't even think we've made the NIT.
Dave Rice was the last time we got to the tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
That was a Sweet 16 run?
No, that was Lon Kruger. Dave Rice.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Dave Rice
Sorry.
didn't win a game in the NCAA tournament, but he at least got to the NCAA tournament and had a lot of NBA quality players. I'm just watching the Lakers game yesterday, and Christian Wood in a Laker jersey looks a little strange, but
it's so funny you bring him up. So I was picking up my daughter yesterday from school. And just talking with the security guard.
Yeah.
And so he was having another conversation. They were like, Christian Wood. And I looked back, I was like, that's a rebel, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was not coached properly here, but he's a heck of a talent. Dave Rice had, you talk about Rashad Vaughn and
Anthony Bennett.
And Jones, the dunk contest winner. McCaw. God, this guy had a lot of ability. A lot of talent, and unfortunately, it didn't pan out to wins in March.
I think Dave is a fantastic individual.
He's a good guy. I agree.
I love his family. His brother has been coaching at Gorman since, I was at the old Gorman.
And Dave Rice came in here a few months ago. And
I remember that conversation.
We had a great
I think
conversation,
that he needs a fantastic head coach, and I think like how Tark had Gergerich, I think that's a great role for Rice. Would be that recruiter that and just you got to have a better head coach though that can actually run the team.
I agree with you. I'm rooting for Kevin. I know you are too. We want him to succeed.
I want him to succeed because I'm tired of shuffling through head coaches.
Yeah, we need a good year.
We should have, in my opinion,
we need
hired Todd Simon, and we wouldn't be in this mess.
You're not going to get Todd's a personal friend of mine and a great guy, a great family man, and a great coach. He did an unbelievable job with Southern Utah, and I'm really happy for him that he landed a job with making more money, and just a great guy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree with you more. Todd Simon should have been hired as the head coach the following year, and he wasn't. They didn't keep him. It is what it is. It set the program back. We've had some really bad athletic directors here. Desiree Reed-Francois, Tina Kunzer-Murphy, who's a very nice lady, not a very good athletic director. We finally have an athletic director here that gets it. Eric Harper gets it. He played Division I college football. He was a good player. He understands it. He made, in my opinion, the best hire that UNLV as a coach. LaRock was certainly, you can make the argument there too. But from the football standpoint, probably the best hire they've made in decades. Odom is completely changing the culture at UNLV.
It's the best hire since Robinson.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I agree.
And
I agree.
Look, we're going bowling already. We're 6-1. And the schedule is also favorable. I think we could possibly be a 9 to 10 win season.
They can win that. Well, let's go.
And they're getting votes for top 25.
Let's take it a step further.
I don't think top 25.
When was the last time they won the Mountain West? They are vying to win the Mountain West Conference.
And all
Fresno State has lost a game already, I think. Or
They've lost one, and then you've got Boise State as well. Boise State is still, in my opinion, you got Boise State, then it's Fresno.
But they've all lost games in conference.
San Diego State has really fallen off this year. So this is the year to make that impact and show everybody why you should come to UNLV rather than those other schools.
They've already made it to a bowl. They're competing for a Mountain West Conference title. Whether they win it or not, fine. I hope they do.
Just
but
get there.
They're competing for a Mountain West Conference title, and if they can actually win a bowl game, when was the last time UNLV won a bowl game?
Arkansas.
Yeah, it's been
Robinson.
a long time. That would just be the whipped cream on the sundae. Congratulations to Coach Odom. Give out the information before we go. How do people contact you, Blake?
Blake Gwynn. I'm with Willow Manor, powered by Keller Williams. 702-540-3310.
1-1.
All right, Blake, always a pleasure having you on. Appreciate the support of the show. And we're going to go hit some golf balls now and have some fun. And look forward to tomorrow. Paul McKeskey is going to be joining us in studio. Will this House Speaker last a day? Will Mike Johnson last a day? We'll cover it tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
That was a